G'day listeners and welcome back to another episode of the Keeper League podcast. We're the AFL fantasy podcast that doesn't talk about the superstars. We only talk about the less knowns and the players who will bring value to your draft and Keeper League teams. My name's Hef and this week I'm swapping out one dissenter for another dissenter. Welcome to the studio. Matty, how are you, mate?
Good, mate. How are you?
Oh, yeah, not too bad. We were just saying it's been a while since we've seen you. How's your Keeper League season gotten off to? Has it gone off to a good start?
Got a win last week.
Your
and
BLT?
then had a draw.
A draw?
A draw
This
yesterday.
stage of the season already?
Yeah, so we had 2 draws in our league this weekend.
Yep.
So I lost by 2 points. Another guy won by 4 points. And then there was a bit of an update. Daniel +4, Parker +2, and then he had Stevens get +4, so we drew. And the other guy that won by 4 points, Graham, lost a tackle, so then they drew.
Oh, wow.
We've had like 3 draws in 7 years, and now we've got 2 in a round. So
That's crazy. Yeah, there's funny stuff like that. This season's already putting up weird stuff with, players scoring and not scoring and that sort of stuff as well. You may as well throw a few draws and things like that into the mix. The Hoofers got on the board in a couple leagues. In the Shiva, I got on the board in the Shiva, and I also in the home league as well had a pretty emphatic win. Last week I was complaining about Brayshaw, Steele, Grundy, like those kind of guys.
All went off this week.
They put up pretty good scores this week, so maybe it's not all doom and gloom for my team. I don't know.
Well, yeah, maybe the game's starting to slow down already. Everyone's pinging hammies. So.
Well, what is your take on the game at the moment? With it is very fast, but there's also quite a few injuries at the moment. What do you think's going on?
I just think it's not sustainable, the brand that they're sort of playing with the pace. And I'm not loving it, really, to be honest. Like, I find it's very open, and a lot of my fantasy top players aren't really those kind of players. So I feel like I'm not enjoying it as much as maybe I would. Yeah,
it's weird. If I was kind of complaining about this last week, that if you've set up your team in a certain way and they're not scoring in the same way as they were, it's not as fun. But then, you see people bucking trends, like Cherry's still going big, and that sort of stuff, like when the others aren't and things like that. But then again, if you look at, I'll put out the scores versus position, what do you call it? The scores above average. I don't even know what I would call it. But anyway, the thing that I put out on Instagram last week that shows you what position scores against different teams and that sort of stuff. West Coast just always give up heaps of points to Rucks. And I think they played Port last week, who had Dante Vicentini. So maybe some things like that are inflated as well. And there are still some nice matchups that you can exploit and things like that as well. But yeah, the hammies seem to be a bit of an issue.
Yeah,
everyone's pinging. I think Libba's come out today with a hammy as well, like another one. So I reckon there's 10 this round.
Tracks was 4 to 6. Rosie's looked really bad.
Yeah.
That looks like tear off the bone kind of stuff. Probably needs surgery.
Yep.
And I looked today, they're all, it's not like it's old blokes that are doing them. There's 21-year-olds, there's 30-year-olds, so it's across the board.
Yeah.
And I saw that there was a stat that they're running less Ks, but they're running more high-speed numbers than ever before.
Yeah.
So that's what's triggering it, coming off, 5, 6, 7 day breaks, maybe you're just a bit ginger, and then try and go max and bang.
Do you reckon we might see more rests or anything like that? Or how do you think, or do you think the game just has to slow down?
I think it has to slow down. It can't maintain. And it's also just not a very good brand of footy.
Well, I was talking to Kays this morning. His opinion is that it's gotten faster, but it's still shit to watch.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's actually, I feel like it's actually sort of getting worse in terms of the standing, because there's just, the boys are just knackered, and then there's a lot of turnovers, a lot of errors. It's becoming very transitional scoring rather than just that contested big clunk mark kind of vibe.
Well, we'll keep monitoring over the next few weeks and see what we can come up with and see if there's anything we can exploit from a fantasy perspective. But it's kind of, at the moment, it's only 2 rounds in. It's very hard to kind of pick up on all the trends. And
there's obviously going to overreact as well. And to what trend's happening. And
I almost overreacted last week and traded out my whole team, but then they scored pretty well this week. So, maybe I shouldn't.
My team was the opposite. They were last week, and this week they're pretty average. So.
They couldn't get that extra point to get over the draw. But anyway, let's get stuck into the round review. Your Hawthorn boys played on the Thursday night. What do you make of their scoring at the moment? No one seems to be going big, but then players aren't really scoring against them. But then there's this really nice even spread. Everyone's getting 80 type thing at Hawthorn. Well, what's your take on it?
I think that just reflects our team, really. We don't have an A grader. We just have a lot of really solid B graders, team players, play a role. We don't really rely on a star player, maybe as other clubs do, to bail us out, which could be a benefit, but also can be a disadvantage when the game's tight and you need someone to win a one-on-one.
Yeah.
And I just think that reflects how we're playing in fantasy as well. It's just a good mix of players that are getting CBAs, playing half forward. All the backs are getting nice chip marks and kicks rather than just one person, dominating the ball.
It's maybe a bit of a scary proposition that if Hawthorn can land a big fish come the trade period, that they might be able to take that next level and become a serious threat type thing, given that the core is there and the base is there and that sort of stuff. But let's move on to some fantasy stuff. Josh Ward, I reckon he'd have to be too good for the podcast right now.
Yeah,
he's a pretty reliable
so.
guy. What have you made of his season so far?
Yeah, it looks great. And again, he's getting the CBAs, playing that role well. And just, it looks like he's just, again, taking that leap. Maybe not the fantasy leap that we want, but taking that leap in terms of what Sam Mitchell would want him to do as a midfielder.
Yeah.
And I'm really liking how his season's sort of tracking.
Yeah, I feel like there were some shaky moments with him, but he's always had that potential to be a good AFL midfielder, and he's becoming it now. Connor McDonald had the 89 points. He's definitely too good for the podcast now because I think he's had the 3 80s in a row. Then if you add on the pre-season stuff as well, he's been going pretty well. Only had the 4 CBAs though. Is that a cause for concern, or can he just score anywhere?
He can score anywhere, and I think the high half forward role suits him better as a fantasy player.
Well,
because the ability. The tank that most of these boys have, the ability to get up and then lose their man in transition.
Yeah.
I think that's what really suits him, and he's just got a bit of nous to fight on the pill.
We are seeing quite a few half forwards score okay at the moment, especially this round as well, so that could be interesting. James Sicily, speaking of too good for the podcast, guys, he's back to 2G, 4P. Kind of didn't see this one coming as much. I thought he was a bit finished, but what do you make of it? All these defenders scored really well in the chip around this week and just kind of kept the ball off them a bit. What do you think?
Yeah, he got dropped in our league because we all sort of thought the same thing, that he's a bit done. But yeah, I think it's just defenders in the current game. The only way you can really slow the ball down now is in your back half when you're probably taking a kick out or things like that.
Yeah.
I'm not really seeing as much, slow possession maybe on those outer wings. It's more like at D50, and then they're just sort of slingshotting from there.
Yeah, so he gets involved in all that sort of stuff as well, so that's good for him. And then even guys like Jack Scrimshaw scored 80. So all these defenders are scoring well. Do you think it's sustainable though that they'll all be putting up 80s most weeks, or do you think it's just a case of playing against Sydney, wanting to slow the game down, not let them have it on their terms, that sort of stuff? Or?
Yeah, I think so, because he had 11 goals in the first quarter.
Yeah,
and then I think it's just after that we sort of just
no one turned up, no teams actually scored over 100. Yeah. After that many goals in the first quarter.
I just think defenders across the board are all high. All the numbers are up. I think it's because to do with the 666. So,
but the thing is, we're seeing some of the ceiling guys come down, like your Whitfields, and even in this game, like Eamon, who's usually up around the 90 marks. He's not scoring that well. But then actually some of the ceiling guys are going massive though as well.
Yeah, I think those guys are more like handball receives, overlap run rather than the mark. And then because it's go, someone else gets a mark, they run around the back, get the handball. And the way the ball movement is transitioning a little bit more. But I also think the way the balls are coming into the 50, like when you win a ruck tap, you're entering forward a stoppage, and you're either hitting a key forward and he's marking it, or it hits the ground and then they just go kick out. And there's not much forward pressure. So small forwards in that are finding are not really being able to tackle and keep the ball in, and it comes out so quick.
Yeah.
And that's why there's so many marks of these just random guys, because they're almost just creating space on the outside, and they just get a kick, and then Whitfield runs past and gets a handball, or Eamon runs past and gets a handball. So
and they're just not getting chip around.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
It's just like a general consensus of just everyone's getting a good 15, 20 touches with a few marks.
Yeah, it just moves quickly, doesn't it? And then the other one I'll talk about is Jack Gunston. He had 84 points. He kicked 4 goals. I think he's off to a better start than last year in terms of...
Yeah, he was playing twos this time last year.
Yeah, sure. Exactly. Yeah, but even fantasy, he averaged 74 for the season in an All-Australian year, and I think he's up to 78 now. So he looks like he could be in for another good season. I picked him up so late in our league, and I'm pretty happy with that.
Someone picked him up off the waivers this week in our league. He's just sort of sitting there. We're just thinking, everyone thinks he's old. He's, it's one of those players that will get a 40 and then he gets 100, and you just sort of stream him.
Yeah.
But Gary Lyon says he's going to kick 100, so...
Could do.
I just think, the ball movement suits him so much because he's so smart. He's good on a lead, but he can win his one-on-one.
Yeah, he's a very agile forward, especially for an old fella as well. But then, the way I look at it as well, I just look at Hawthorn, and I don't think, your Culture Deer is ready to take that next level. Mitch Lewis, the next guy I want to talk about, I don't think he's almost at that level yet. No. But I am starting to see signs. He did score 80 points on the weekend. He had 9 marks and a goal. And I've always been, a big fan of him. Just needs to stay fit. Because I reckon his contested marking is actually quite good, and his set shot isn't too bad either. So he just needs a few opportunities, and he should be okay, but just needs to stay fit.
Yeah, I agree. I think Hawks should trade him personally, but
Trade him.
I was thinking we should trade Will Day, Mitch Lewis in a first round for Butters, and that'll be our superstar.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I think Lewis, so Deer and Chol are probably the same in terms of that more hybrid, flexible. And
Chol was crazy, actually.
Lewis needs to be that more contested mark.
Yeah.
So I think that's where his role is going to be in the team, and you'll find some weeks where I think he's going to take 2-3 marks, and he has games like this where he takes 9 or 10. But if again the way Hawthorn are playing, if he gets high up the ground, he can get those cheap marks.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, so hopefully that continues. I wouldn't want to field him each week, but I reckon he could be through these bye rounds, you need to stream someone, or if he's got a nice matchup, he could be okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Onto the Swans. Riley Bice, he's too good for the podcast, or should be after the bye. I think he had one low score in there. He scored 87 points. I guess that halfback role, it's just fruitful, isn't it? And then, Lloyd was on that halfback a few years ago, then Roberts moved into it the last 2 years, and now he's the guy. Do you think all of them can score well back there? That's Mills and Blakey. Like they've always seemed to be.
Yeah, I think so. Because given I think Roberts was sort of on a wing the last couple of weeks, and Lloyd's he just plays
forward. He actually had a CBA this week.
Yeah, right. Just goes wherever. Doesn't
He's forward.
I think we talked about before with Hawthorn defenders all sort of getting around the same mark. I can't see why Mills, Blakey, and the bicycle can't.
Yeah.
Do the exact same thing.
No, I reckon the same. So I reckon he's pretty safe back there as well. Justin McInerney, we thought he'd have the expected bump with Heaney and Gould. Now he got the 85 points, which is probably less than what we thought, but they probably weren't as dominant in this game, Sydney, as well. So he's still too good for the podcast because he's had the 3 80-pluses in a row. So we'll remove him from the show doc and hit delete.
Forward status is so handy.
Very juicy. And Jake Lloyd had the 80 points. I'm just going to give my boy a shout out. But I reckon he's going to get forward status next few weeks, which might make him a little bit handier as well.
I think it's same sort of thing as Mitch Lewis in terms of the streaming option. Look at the matchup, depending on his role. And then you'll find some week, because I think he had a 50 or something early days, and now he's had a...
Yeah, it's not going to be great. He did the same thing last year. He'd have low scores, but then he's just, if in the right games, he's the kind of guy who will just push into a million holes and get a million little +6s, and he'll be fine. But yeah, just got to shout out my boy, and let's move on. Adelaide versus Western Bulldogs. So upset to see the Crows go down in this state. But anyway, like I said last week, that Sam Berry was almost their most important midfielder at the moment, given that the injuries they had through there, that was kind of when Rankin was out as well. But they needed someone to kind of free up Dawson a little bit and do the grunt work in and under sort of stuff, and more so dish it out to someone like Dawson. And I think he's going to... he's just finding more of the footy. I think that's the difference. And then he's a tackling machine, so he gets points that way. And then we were also talking about who moves out of the CBAs last week as well. Probably James Peatling. I think we did project that on the podcast, and it looked like that did happen. He only had the 9 this week. So Sam Berry's going to hold. Would you be wanting to field him in your team, or
definitely?
Yeah, you happy with him at the moment?
Definitely, yeah. He's got a great role, I think, and they don't have, with Curtin out, Draper's injured. Rankin missed the first round. Obviously, Rochelle's there. Saligo's got the irregular heartbeat, so I just think he's probably the second mid almost behind Dawson.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And they need someone to extract the ball, because they're talking about potentially having Dawson more forward of the ball to be more damaging, sort of swapping Rochelle and Rankin, or even having Dawson as like a centre-half forward so they can play one less tall, but they're more mobile in the current environment of the way the game's going. So I think he almost becomes very, very important, and he should be that in and under, which they don't really have from anyone else.
Still available on a few waiver wires I saw, but he's getting very highly owned. I think he's into the 80s. So
I just think because that would be because in previous years, he's up and down.
Yeah, that one good season, and then couldn't get him back into the best 22, and then Anyway, I guess they were using Matt Crouch for a while in there as well.
Yeah,
they're
basically the same player, aren't they? Really?
Yeah.
Maybe Crouch is...
Barry's probably a bit more harder at it, and
Crouch is a magnet though.
Yeah, that's
absolutely finds it.
Josh Worrell was the next guy, 94 points. He's probably one step closer to too good for the podcast after this performance. We did say all he has to get is one extra kick and one extra mark, and he would move into that territory, and he's doing it. He actually came out in my projections in the top 20 for the round.
Really?
I only got the 94. I think he's projected at about 109, so it was a bit short of that. But Western Bulldogs. Western Bulldogs probably the key factor there, giving up points to defenders before last week, and it's just something to watch. I think Bulldogs got the bye this week, but it's something to watch when you do come up against Western Bulldogs. So.
Any concern with Mitch Hinge if he comes back anytime soon, or is it...
Not really, because we saw it last year. Like, Worrell will still average the 75 with Hinge in the side.
Hinge dropped a little bit from the year before, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So I'm not too concerned about that. I think Worrell's more of the, I don't know. I think they trust him with the ball a little bit more than I know. Some of his kicking can be a bit short, or more so his decision making. Sometimes he just kind of seems to boot it up the field without thinking about it. Sometimes, but no, I think they do like him. I think he's taking a few more kick-ins as well. I have to double check that, but that's probably helping him a bit too.
Yeah, I don't know who else they've apart from Malira.
Yeah,
Rory Laird.
Yeah, Laird's already in the side, so he's doing what he's doing. Yeah. Lachlan McAndrew, he had 84 points. Is he a real deal ruckman, do you think?
I'm not sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought you'd be sold.
Nah.
Surely you want him in the side over Rob, though.
Yeah. But whether he's going to be that, premium ruck, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think, he's solid, did the job, gets hit outs,
Yeah.
mobile.
He could be like, in a fantasy sense, he could be like a Jordan Sweet type thing where he's not that top superstar, but more than serviceable to pick up with, if you're to punt rucks and only pick up a ruck with like, the final few picks or whatever, or take one once all the good rucks have been gone. He's one of those kind of guys that can get an 80 every second week type thing, I reckon. We'll tip the caps to the key defenders. Like, again, we pointed out last week that on the Instagram, get around the Instagram page because there's lots of good data and stuff going up in there and graphics and in graphic form and that sort of stuff. We did point out the defenders were going well against Western Bulldogs. So, yeah, Jordan Butts and Nick Murray both had 10 plus marks and had 84 points each. So
Nick Murray had 2 goals as well.
Yeah.
But he could kick straight. Pretty sure, did Murray break the record for most intercept marks with 11, I think? Or was he...
May have.
He was getting very close.
Yeah.
When we were watching, they mentioned he was on like 7 or 8 and he needed 10. 10's the record and there's 6 or 7 blokes that have it.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, I did not.
I'll have to double check
We didn't have commentary on it the soccer club, so didn't hear that bit.
True.
Lachlan, we mentioned that. Bailey Williams under the Western Bulldogs. Splitting more time forward this season, so I remember he kicked a good goal and then he was lined up at the wing again next time. So still spending time on the wing. But yeah, he's definitely been scoring more goals this season. Almost kicked goal of the year the other week. Sometimes this. What is it? I don't know why this is working out better for his fantasy scoring though. Maybe he's just a good player. I think he's kind of one of those players. That doesn't really matter where you play him. You can score. Okay.
Just smart footballer. Works hard.
Yeah.
Doggies a very high scoring team. So if you work right and you lose your winger,
and I think if you hit the scoreboard 2 times a game as well, you're adding it like an extra 20 points to your score as well, which probably helps too.
Definitely.
Yeah. Has Joel Freijah arrived with his 103 points on the weekend?
He looked good, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
He got 4-2, 4 goals 2.
Yeah.
And I reckon he gave a couple off as well. He could have probably had 8.
Yeah. I am a big Freijah fan. It's more like I owned him for a lot of last year and like he would have a game like this and then he'd put up a 50 the following week.
Yeah.
So I just want to see him like back it up.
So it's just consistency from him.
Yeah.
But then I guess
exactly.
if that's his role with a high half forward, I feel like they are so up and down based on the games. I did see he had a few CBAs.
Yeah. I don't think they're going up though. I reckon they were pretty consistent with what they were the last few weeks.
Yeah,
the difference is the goals, I think, with him. Like last year we saw a game against Sydney, I reckon it was, where he kicked 4 goals and put up a big score. And this game kind of just had the same kind of flavour to it, you know what I mean? He actually only had the 6 CBAs, so I think that's actually down on last week as well.
Yeah,
but the goals kind of bumped him up. So that's the thing that worries me. But I think it's all a general consensus that he's going to be a gun of the future. I think it's just whether he's a fantasy gun, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I just think he's just an 85, 90 forward.
Maybe.
That's actually elite, to be honest, given the current state of forwards that we have.
Yeah, you definitely take that. And Lockie Jake said the 74 points, you'd take that from the young fella.
Jakes, my man.
Copped a big hit too. I thought he was going to be out for
same.
weeks after that.
I did see that. And he just sort of shrugged it off. And
he got back up. It was good to see. Filled the owners with confidence, I think.
It's interesting to see where he's like, is Dale the week before? I know they smashed the Giants, but Dale was playing forward a bit, as you sort of said last week.
Yeah.
And then Jarks is kind of a wing, kind of half back.
They rotate so many through the wing, and I think sometimes they push them to half forward as well, like because they're just playing a heap of these similar types, and it's kind of like they just play them all down one side of the pitch, one side of the field, and then like they kind of all play that running role and overlap and things like that. So
does Libba being out? I'm not sure how long he's out for with his hammy. I'm assuming it's going to be a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think it's a few.
This is just Fraser and Sanders just get a bump, and I know Treloar had 30.
Treloar could come back into the side. That's a big one that in the VFL. Just looking at the CBAs here, like Kennedy only had 19 last week, I guess, but there's only a few more that you can actually add to that. Yeah, Sanders and Fraser do look like the next guys back into the list if you're going just going by current CBAs. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's probably likely and may see a bit of a bump there, which would be good for their owners. Let's get on to the Richmond versus Gold Coast game. Jack Ross is 1 week away from too good for the podcast. Still the third most CBAs for Richmond. I didn't really pick this. I thought they would be going more leaning into the kids, but maybe it's because Cummings out and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, Cumming, Houghton, and Smiley are all missing.
Yeah.
So maybe actually Jack Ross is a good player. He's still young enough where he has growth and he'll have development.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it could be potentially to do with those young blokes being out, but also I think Richmond, you want to be competitive, you need the bigger bodies.
Yeah.
And he's still got a bit of speed, so...
Just looking at the point share, the CBA share, like Dion Prestia came back in the side, he had 15. Did he play last week or the week before? I can't remember. Anyway.
I don't reckon he did, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, he missed one.
Yeah, 15 CBAs there, and then Lawler only had the 10. He's probably one I expected to go up a little bit more than he has, but you still take 10 every day of the week, and he's playing forward, and he'll keep that forward status. So
definitely,
it's not
I
too
think
bad.
while he's developing, you just need to let him get forward status and
Yeah.
he's suitable.
Correct.
That's the benefit.
Let's move on to Toby Nankervis's injury, hamstring. How bad is that one? Is that going to be a while? I don't really follow that one.
Nah, neither have I, but I think it's decent.
Yeah, I've seen, like, I saw the press conference afterwards, and they said, "Oh, it's just a small one." But then I've heard rumours that it could be a big one, so I don't really know.
He is old. He's 30,
Yeah.
32, 33.
He's never had a hamstring before, he reckons, as well, so that's probably
boy.
a bad sign.
That doesn't sound good to me.
Yeah. Who do you think steps up in his absence? Do you think it's Samson Ryan or Hayes Brown? They're the only listed rucks at the moment. I think they have another guy that they've been doing their backup ruck.
I think there's a Category B basketballer or something that's
Yeah.
floating around. I know LaFleur rucked on the day, but
Yeah.
then also Tom Lynch is out. He did his hammy as well.
Yeah, I
so
did see that.
he won't obviously be rucking.
Yeah.
And you probably don't want Tom Lynch rucking anyway.
That's like Campbell Gray has been listed as a ruck in Champion Data. So,
Right.
Yeah, he's been switched over as well. So, I don't know.
I think you just need to play like LaFleur's. He's not a ruckman. I think that whatever kid you got, you just need someone tall almost and just run with it. Maybe Noah Bolter. Like at least he's athletic enough that he can roam around, bring Gibcus back in from the twos.
Yeah.
Play him as your key.
Maybe that's one to pick up.
Or do they put like a Harvey Armstrong?
Don't know.
Harry Armstrong.
Don't know any of these
Or
fringe Richmond players.
Jasper Alger, he's another one.
I think he played around the VFL on the weekend. Yeah, maybe
they're all undersized. Like they're not.
maybe you take a stab on a Bolter or something like that, and hopefully he gets the role. Maybe.
Yeah.
Might-
Samson Ryan should. I guess.
yeah.
Like
And is he listed as a forward as well?
I think so.
Yeah, so that could be a pretty good option.
I just think he's no good. So
Nah, you're right. He's no good. So probably won't. Even when he does ruck, he doesn't score well. So yeah, maybe not. All right. So we talked about Lawler. He had 79 points. He had 17 touches and a goal, and the 10 CBAs. So that was good by him. Onto the Suns. I was patting myself on the back with a few of my streamers this week. I think I was rubbish the week before, and I was thinking about maybe quitting fantasy altogether. But I had a few Gold Coast. I had Bodhi Uwland and Closey as well, like as both of my streamers for the week. Bodhi Uwland had 133 points. Had 16 marks in defence, and I think he had the most kick-ins too. But it was a pretty even spread. I think it was only 3 that he had. But I think it's more about, for my streaming, it was more about the opposition than it was to do with him, like, you know, being a breakout player or anything like that. So, like, I think the title of this episode, I've got Bodhi Uwland Breakout, but with a question mark after it. And the question mark is probably no. It's just looking here, like, is he a medium defender or a key defender? I don't know what to describe him.
He's a medium.
Yeah. But either way, like, players before this round were averaging 5 points on top of their, as a whole, on top of their average against Richmond, and then key defenders were about 10 points ahead. So, like, it's a pretty nice matchup for defenders. Richmond are. So
I was going to pick him up in our league, and I thought, nah, he played West Coast the week before. That's the only reason he scored well. I was like, I'll just hold, and I watched him take a few intercept marks against West Coast. And yeah, I think I actually really like the way he uses the ball and goes well, but I just think it's a defender. It's a key defender. He's just going to probably get me a 70 or an 80.
Yeah,
it's not worth the
exactly.
pick up, and then to go to the 133, that's huge.
Yeah, no, I agree. But like, it's just not gonna. Even though he's done it 2 weeks in a row, it's just not gonna happen every week. Because I think who'd they play last week?
West Coast.
That's what I mean. Like, that's what I mean. Like,
and then against Geelong, I reckon he got a 50.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Whatever,
so that's probably more of a mark of where he's at, really. Sam Closer, we mentioned him just before. He was another one of my streamer options. Actually, I also had Tex Walker as a streamer option.
He was good.
And he was good, yeah. Again,
Actually, I love when he actually rolls around on that. He takes a mark on the 50 and just rolls around, just slots it through.
Yeah. So, no, I did have some good streamers. Definitely follow on Instagram because that's where I'm putting my streamers up at the moment. Or read the article that's on the website
I
as
need
well.
to put notifications on or something.
Yeah, maybe. It's when they do come up.
Get in early.
You'll get a few of them. Then put about 3 posts up a day. But anyway, yes, this Closey had 92 points. Just again, that was based on Richmond being a pretty easy match for wingers as well. I think they were the 3rd easiest matchup for wingers too. So chucked him there. And,
has to be to do with the way they defend, obviously. In their zone, and they just let wingers and halfbacks and key defenders just chip around.
Just being a young side and just, because that's only over the last 5 rounds, just having 5 hard matchups, as well. So it can be that as well. Like there's so many variables in it. Like I don't read into it as much as probably, I make out that I do, but there are some factors there that you can look at. And it's more for when there's like the benefit of the doubt or like, who the hell do I stream this week? Let's have a look at some things that might go my way. You know what I mean? Joel Jeffrey's too good for the podcast now, 111 points.
He actually looks really good.
He does. Yeah.
Again, he got dropped in our league and the guy was spewing. He's like, nah, he was going to keep him. And me and another mate talked him out of it. And now he's like, man, you boys, I should have kept him. Someone else has got him and it's flying.
Painful. He was one of I did think he was going to be on the up this season. Like I did think he'd get to that 80 range, but he's kind of.
Well, Rioli's dropped off, hasn't he?
Yeah. So. And
Noble only got a 70. So maybe it's just.
Yeah. Well, it kind of makes sense if Rioli was training in other spots. You know what I mean? Like, so I know he has been playing a defence, but then Will Power has gone to the midfield. So like, it kind of leaves a gap for him to actually pick up a few extra points as well.
For sure.
Ethan Reed had 99 points, 4 goals. He would need to back it up before I ever get excited about a key forward.
Agree. There was one stage he had 8 marks and 8 kicks when I went and looked.
Okay. That's
Only taking clunks in I felt like Richmond undersized. So he's athletic as anything.
Yeah, he's not going to be a fantasy scorer if he ever gets that kind of ruck roll, which I'm not sure.
But he is holding out Walter and Jamara. So
it's because he's flexible though. He can go in there and pinch hit and that sort of stuff too, which helps. And then we mentioned Will Power before, he had the 97 points, 75% CBAs, and this kind of leads into the next question, I guess. Like, is he going to be? Well, he'll obviously continue with that role with Petrarca now out.
Has to.
And does that also mean, like, with Petrarca out, Anderson's just going to cop all the tags, all the attention, that sort of stuff as well? So he's probably on a downward trend as this as well.
Yeah, we're no Rao still, so no track. So if you're going to stop Gold Coast, you got to maybe Took. But
Humphrey's out as well for 2 weeks by looks too. So like, he got suspended.
They're going to challenge it, I think. But maybe it might be 2 down to 1 probably, or something like that. And then they're going to buy, so you're missing 2 weeks.
So Will Power's going to continue with this role. Who gets a bump? Do you think Alex Davies comes up?
Yeah, has to.
Yeah,
they rate him, man.
Yeah, they do. He's a massive unit.
Yeah, he's huge.
So like, I reckon he's going to see the bump. So like, if Davies is on a waiver wire or something like that, he might be. I should have had him in the waiver podcast this week. He's going to be one that's going to see a bump, I think, because I thought his CBA was going to be trending downwards, but his injury is keeping him in the side. I guess
the only other one is Took Miller. Just throw him back in there.
Oh, that's He had 105 last week as well.
He was good.
Yeah. GWS Giants versus St Kilda Saints. Ryan Angren, I didn't really see much of this game because it started so late. I planned to go watch it at the pub, and then we're like, why hasn't it started?
And then delay with the light and thunder.
And then then I was driving home when it was on, and then the Matilda started, so I was watching that. But 89 points for him. 5 tackles. I just assume he was playing on the wing.
He was tagging Nasai.
Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah.
Wasn't it like Naz is starting in the CBA? He's starting outside,
and then
he just picks him up.
Yeah,
but also he was trying to burn off Naz. Like once Giants got the ball, Angren was on his absolute bike.
Yeah,
kicked a nice goal, pretty sure.
Yeah,
and then was like pretty solid, looked pretty good, getting into him.
So that could be a role he plays. That's probably going to draw him to the ball a bit more. But it's just that he's listed as a mid only anyway.
Yeah, so it's like, I just think his capacity to run was the reason why he's with Nas.
Makes sense. What about Harley Thomas? Was he playing that small defender role again, or was he back up forward?
To be honest, I didn't
even
notice him.
I do that all the time, man. You see these guys have huge points. I think the 5 tackles is like where the points come from. You don't really notice the tacklers. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because he only had 9 kicks for the whole game as well. So, I don't know. I think it's a defender versus St Kilda type thing, I would assume. And Phoenix Gothard, I was listening on the radio on the way home from the pub, and it said they was calling him Phoenix Gothard. Like, it's Gothard, isn't it?
Yeah, has
Yeah,
to be Gothard.
what the hell? That was obviously like taking the piss. But that was ABC. They're usually pretty straight down the line. They don't make silly jokes. It wasn't Triple M or anything. So, I don't know. Gothard. But anyway, he kicked 2 goals and had 9 disposals. So, I don't know. He need to back it up before I get excited about that one.
Yeah, agree. Now I'm thinking about it. I'm pretty sure it was Gothard and Delana that were forward. So I'm pretty sure Harvey Thomas would have been down back.
Yeah. He's been consistent with what's been going on in the preseason and that. On to some Saints. Not a lot to talk about, even though they actually won. They probably scored poor, or it was like the too good for the podcast players just kind of did their bits anyway. Bradley Hill, I'm liking his role. He's playing on the wing, but he seems to be like more defensive side of wing at the moment.
Marks.
Yeah, so lots of marks there. And he's listed as a forward, so you'd be pretty happy with that.
Very handy. I got him in a...
And he's old, so it's like, well, not super old, but he's like 32, 33, is that right? So like he's a target if a non-contender has him. You
Absolutely,
can go after him type thing. I might try to make a few plays for him, actually, try to get him cheaper. Darcy Wilson finally put up a good score for us, 81 points. He had 91% time on ground as well.
I'm pretty sure he had 50 points in the first quarter or something like that.
Yeah,
like 8 or 9. He started like absolutely... Because last time he played Giants, he kicked 5.
Yeah.
I don't know. He loves playing at NG Stadium.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. Probably the only person ever. But yeah. So,
the Giants don't even like playing there.
Yeah. Saints dominated early. Like, it was absolute whitewash pretty much in the first quarter and a bit. And then from then on, basically, I feel like Giants really got a hold in the game, but Saints were just too far ahead.
Yeah.
Darcy Wilson was great. I thought that work rate leading up the ground, high half forward, getting marks.
Yeah.
And he just kept popping up. He was popping up in the D50, getting little handballs.
Yeah. Well, it's like the high half forward role. It's never really been great for consistency, but like we're seeing more of them score better over the first rounds. But again, small sample size.
It's because they're all just these athletes that can just run and run and run, and that's just the way the game's going.
And then get free, losing their opponent type thing. Yeah, and then get little marks on the way back. On to Fremantle versus Melbourne. Also didn't watch much of this one because it was getting around the Tillies. Shea Bolton had 110 points. He had 32 touches and 2 goals. But like, it's a bit of a downhill ski. But the thing is, like, I reckon Freo at home are a very different beast. Like, we saw him versus Geelong last week and none of them put up fantasy points. See him at home, absolutely dominate a side. It's a different kettle of fish, you know what I mean?
They're very scary.
Yeah.
At Optus, for sure. And yeah, Bolton, I think he's getting more midfield time. He's around the ball a lot more. I really kind of like what I'm seeing, but maybe it's you only play him when they're playing in Perth.
Yeah. Or when it's an easy matchup as well, I think. Because, I think he could have some good scores, though, in some of those smashings. Because I do rate Freo as a side, and I do think they're a class above quite a lot of sides in the competition as well, in terms of talent anyway. And then just also structurally, like, they got a good mid, good key forwards, decent key defenders as well. So it's like, they should put teams to the sword, especially over there. And when they do, we should see some good scores. I just want Andrew Brayshaw to keep this up, essentially. Show me why I picked you up when you were first drafted in the first place.
It's weird that Strong got tagged, so that's why he probably got off the chain.
So Colton Tolstrup has been the tagger, is that right? Yeah.
I'm not sure.
So maybe watch Melbourne matchups and watch if Colton Tolstrup is going to your
favourite player.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad he didn't go to Brayshaw this week. Josh Treacy, 110 points. What have I been saying about him? If Freo get better, he gets better.
Yeah.
And
natural progression as well.
Yeah, that too.
He's a monster, man.
He just takes so many marks.
Yeah.
Like, he's a beast. And then, like, he just kicks goals. He's on the 2G for the 4P bubble, I'm pretty sure. So
it's weird because I thought a miss would probably be better than him. Like, do you know what I mean?
Initially, like in that first breakout season.
And Tracy's just continues to rise, and Jai's sort of just been struggling a little bit.
Yeah, loves a sausage roll. Actually, not even a goal. He loves eating sausage rolls, apparently, as well. That on the Footy and Friends podcast. Carl Warner, he's a guy that's popped up on the podcast a few times before. 93 points. Every time I looked up, because I had a separate screen going for the footy, every time I kind of looked up, he was taking a mark.
Yeah.
I think he had 9 for the game, but it's probably just going inside 50 for Melbourne. I know that Van Rooyen had a good game the week before, but they're lacking probably some key forward. They always have, Melbourne have lack key forward options, and it let him just pop into some holes and things like that. He's not really that distributor type, though.
No, well, Luke Ryan came in. That's another thing that, how Drew.
Yeah.
So he had Luke Ryan on his field to loop a score.
Yeah.
Which was looping like a 60 or something.
Yeah.
And then Luke Ryan came on, he scored another 7, and I drew because Luke Ryan came in.
Yeah. So if he would have taken that original score,
I would have won by like 40 points.
Oh, no, that sucks.
Yeah, how good. But yeah, I agree. Freo chipping around, Melbourne, similar to what we're seeing with a lot of the other, like the way the game's sort of going, all these defenders are just getting 70, 80, 90 points. And it's not easy to get that when you're taking a few, marks in your back half.
Yeah.
And there's not much pressure on.
Yeah, correct. Murphy Reid had 80 points. Had 4 CBAs, so mostly forward. So it's just kind of good that he'll be keeping that forward status going forward. Kicked 2 goals. Just think he might struggle in that role against some harder opposition.
Yeah,
that's
agree.
all.
A bit like Bolton, really, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
And
exactly.
but I think that's perfect because he's going to keep progressing.
Yeah.
As a player, he keeps forward status.
You'll
he's
get him in that
fieldable.
breakout year, and then he'll be a sweet mid-forward eventually. Isaiah Dudley, I'm just tipping the cap to him. 81 points, 3 goals, not backing in a small forward. Ed Langdon had 91 points. The heat map looked like he was back on the wing a bit. So I guess that's the role you want him to be playing if he's listed as a forward, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and then Tom Sparrow, 9 tackles. Like, I guess that's what you want if he's chasing tail all day, just actually like making tackle numbers. But like,
his ass.
because he's got this listed as a forward as well, he always like piques my interest. Like, he's always available at the end of drafts. I'm like, do I just pick up Tom Sparrow and have him as a bench forward? But like, I've written him off so many times. He's failed me so many times.
He's let me down heaps. And he had 27 in round 1.
Yeah.
Follows up with a, what do you have, 90 or something?
I didn't write it down actually. But it was a lot more respectable score, that's for sure.
Yeah, so that's just who he is. He's plays, I think, because it's almost like Melbourne in previous season, they've had superstars that aren't as flexible, and then you just get Tom Sparrow, who can almost just happy to play anywhere.
Yeah.
And he just gets thrown around so much. He plays mid, wing, forward. So that's just the kind of play he's going to be, and you just have to hope the week that you're fielding him is the week he has the good role.
Yep, agree with that. On to Port Adelaide versus Essendon. Jason Horne-Francis was on fire.
Unbelievable, isn't he?
He'll be too good for the podcast again very, very soon.
He loves bullying little teams, I feel like.
Yeah, he needs to step up against the big ones. I can't believe he only finished with 3 goals because in the first quarter, weren't they?
He kicked 3.
Yeah. I was a little bit late because my son wanted to do something. That's why we got there right just on the start, and soon the first thing we saw was him just take a mark and kick a goal. So felt like he was going to have a massive day. But he spent more time in the midfield after that. Had 50% CBAs, which I'm pretty sure was up from last week.
Yeah.
But it's a split that you want though. Like,
I think last week he was 70% forward.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
but is that just them managing the injury and?
Yeah,
because he had that foot and they're just easing him into the season.
Well, it's hard to tell because Rosie going down. Rosie was playing a lot more midfield as well, so you probably expect someone like Horne-Francis to eat up his time a bit more, or maybe it's a Watkins or something. But we'll talk about him in a sec. Yeah, that too. Alir had 19 marks and 121 points. 19 marks is massive.
That's
for
ridiculous.
A game.
Actually, I didn't realize it was that many.
Yeah, it's huge.
I know I had the ball a fair bit. But I was like, pretty sure 2 weeks in a row. Essendon have given up like 150, 160 marks in that position.
Yeah, right.
Like against Hawthorn, Sicily's literally bouncing the ball on the spot.
Yeah.
And I think Port did the same. There's just no pressure from their front half.
They're just crushed mentally.
It's round 2, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a long season, isn't it?
Get rid of Scott.
Yeah.
We'll get to Essendon.
Yeah. Logan Evans had 103 points. I like this one a little bit more because he had more of the halfback role. So Burgoyne moved up to the wing again this week, and Logan Evans came back. And I guess the thing that piques your interest is that year he was drafted in the mid-season draft, he actually scored pretty respectably for the season when he was given the opportunity. Then last year he kind of found himself out of the side a bit more, and now he's back in.
So Carr obviously rates him then.
Yeah, and he's in the role that he plays. He scored the best in the past. So
because Mead was back there as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he was in for who was injured. I can't remember. Someone came out. Oh no, sorry, someone was dropped. But anyway, he was back there a bit. But the thing is, like this week, Wines comes back in, but Rosie comes out. So I don't really know.
Okay, so then maybe Hornets mix is the same. Wines is just in for Rosie, even though they're completely different players. But Wines can really only play mid.
Yeah, the other one is like Ewan McKinlay starting on the wing. Like I guess it probably now Rosie, because Rosie plays halfback as well. Like it's just so hard to figure out where they line up. I was just thinking like maybe Ollie Wines comes in and starts on that wing, moves into the midfield because that's what he
just
kind of
extra
does.
mid,
yeah. So I don't really know. We'll have to wait and see what happens.
I'd say Bergman's the most like Rosie in terms of his flexibility.
The thing is with Bergman is like what's going on with him because I don't think he had any CBAs last week. I think his foot is actually cooked, and then he came off late with a foot injury, ankle injury. Yeah, so
but he was like he just landed awkwardly, and he was like, when he grabbed his like lower leg almost. I think
he'll be okay from this, but like the inside word, like Roy, and that he's got his awesome source chat, which I won't give up too much information, but apparently like his word is that his foot is absolutely cooked.
Yeah, right.
Like it probably needs some work done on it, and so he could actually potentially just be rested up for a bit or go in for surgery or something, and put him out for the rest of for half the season, whatever. Bring him back later. That's a bit of a whisper that's going around with that as well. So
Port playing finals, like
they might finish 10th.
Yeah, true.
I don't know how much
keep
you'd-
forgetting about the wild card. 'Cause
I don't know
I
how
was
much
gonna
you'd go for that.
If you're no good, man, and your team's not playing, like just
Yeah.
get in the
I
shop
don't think they'll
and
do any damage from 10th, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the point is.
get in the garage, mate. Get repaired.
yeah.
Come back out, ready to roll next year.
Exactly. I'm not sure where we went from all that, but Logan Evans could be a right option off the halfback.
Yeah, one to watch for sure.
Especially with Rosie out. Yeah.
Yep.
Jack Lukosius, what do you make of him? Can you trust him at all after his 101 points?
Yeah, he reminds me a lot of Jack Gunston in terms of the way
Yeah,
he
okay.
moves
Yeah.
towards like leading lanes and
Yeah.
patterns.
Do you think a lot of it with him is more between the ears?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
And it doesn't help when you're in a team like last week. Well,
Yeah.
he wasn't playing last week, but teams that are getting smashed and things like
So
that.
when Porter winning the ball front of stoppage and he can just lead out, like I don't think many people are gonna stop him.
Yeah.
And I think he just needs a consistent role in time in that forward half as sort of, I wouldn't say the main man, but like
Yeah.
you know he's not going to get thrown back because they've got Marshall, they've got Aaliyah.
Yeah.
So he's it's just the consistency in his role.
Do you know what's interesting though? Like back when he was a good fantasy scorer for a year, like averaged 80 or something like
Yeah.
that. And he was playing kind of the role that Marshall's playing now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There could be a switch up at some point.
Sure.
Like he might be a good waiver option just to chuck on your bench just in case that does happen. Because if he ever ends up on that halfback role again, like we know we've seen him scoring and there is like a path there, like, or, you know, Lukosius isn't working up forward. Let's chuck Marshall up there this week and see how he goes
Just
and
swap
swap him
him.
around. And
Yeah.
it might happen, you know, and if he's got forward status and he's available on a lot of waiver wise, it could be a little option, you know?
Definitely for sure.
It's just something to think about.
I think, and you just got to look at the matchups, obviously, for streaming him.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's too good of a player to not score well sometimes. Like he's a class footballer.
Yeah, exactly. Was it number 2, number 3 draft pick?
Yeah.
Yeah. There are a lot of scores that are inflated due to Essendon, though. Like Kane Farrell, 96 points. Usual thing off halfback. Like if Bergman is injured and Rosie's injured, you'd expect him to see a bump over the next few weeks. So that could be an interesting one. Jack Watkins had 95 points with 20 CBAs. So like again, there's 15 CBAs from the weekend that need to be picked up. He could be one that goes in there. He's Zach Butters' best mate, isn't he?
Yeah. But he's also shown, like, he's won a couple of VFL BNFs. He won a Sample BNF.
Yeah,
last
was he a
year.
North captain, VFL captain or something? Or just
I think
maybe
so,
it's a
something
BNF
like
winner. Yeah.
But, like, he's mature body. Paul don't have. He's like, I feel like he's perfect for what you guys need.
He's
like,
better than, he's what everyone thought Will Brodie would be.
Yeah.
Really. But yeah, I just don't see him going big against teams that aren't Essendon. He might go. West Coast actually hard for midfielders to score against at the moment.
But he doesn't have heaps of outside games. So
Yeah.
it's just going to be sort of
Very
inside
inside.
run and then just a bit of cheap footy if you get it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not sold on him just yet, but it was a really good performance. But again, against Essendon. And Todd Marshall took 11 marks in defence. Like, Todd Marshall 11, Aaliyah 19. Like, it just tells you about Essendon more than anything, doesn't it?
Big time.
Yeah.
I think. But also, Ken was saying, I really like Ken Hinkley as a commentator.
I
like,
don't.
really?
I haven't heard him yet, to be honest. Like, I've watched the
think-
game that he's been on. I was at the game.
I guess
yesterday.
I'm not a tainted Port supporter about the
Yeah.
last 11 years or whatever with Ken, but the way he speaks about Marshall and Marshall's ball use and his kicking.
Yeah. He would know them inside and out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that role is going to be pretty much his for until
Foreseeable future.
until he loses it almost.
Yeah.
But he's a great ball user, so I feel like they'll want the ball in his hands a lot more.
Yeah. All right. Well, we talked about Jace Bergman a bit earlier, but yeah, he was more up on the wing this week and then up forward as well. If you look at his heat map, it's on the half forward flank. So spent a lot of time, forward of centre. Had 92 points. But yeah, everyone's just expecting that perma halfback role, and then Logan Evans kind of seems to have it this week anyway.
Yeah.
So, and there was talk of Evans playing on the wing earlier that we just would have sent him back, but maybe they've done the swap around. It's just something to note. Moving on to the Bombers, Zach Johnson's really the only shining light there. He had 90 points. Spent some time on Jason Horne-Francis when he was up forward, so I reckon that led him to the ball a little bit.
Definitely.
But more just finding a bit more of the footy across halfback. I think he'll be a gun when Essendon get good. You're just going to be waiting a while for that to
So
happen.
he's never going to be good.
Maybe, yeah, in 1,000 days, whatever it is to make a final.
I feel they haven't won a game since May last year.
Jesus.
Since like round 12 last year is the last time they won.
Yeah, okay.
They're no good, man.
They are no good. Archie Roberts had the 86 points, so I think owners would be happy to see him just do something.
I don't like that he's getting CBAs. to be
That's the
honest.
worst part of it. But like, what are you achieving by playing him across halfback at the same time? Like, if he's a better player than that, just a cheap halfback flanker.
Yeah,
You've got to put him in the midfield.
But the way the game's going is most of these elite ball users are being put at half back,
Yeah,
and that's where
true.
all your attack actually starts from.
What are Essendon doing? Really?
So, but he was tagging Butters.
I know.
And tagging's generous because there was one moment in the first quarter where Butters had about 20 metres of space.
I think it was like, just go watch Butters for a bit and see if you can just become what he can become.
But they've got Caldwell, you've got Panera,
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
got not Fina, he's probably not inside anymore, but then you've got Durham, you've also got Sharp,
You want him on that cushy halfback role. Like, you don't want him in the midfield. Like, that's the
Yeah.
thing. So
I just think they've got so many mids. Parrish, I mentioned him. Like,
Yeah.
Setterfield's playing they picked him up. Like,
Yeah.
they let Hobbs go. They got Sardis. Like, they're all like, how many mids do you need? And then you're going to put Archie Roberts in there. Put him half back.
trade him. And they need to trade Zach Merritt too. And just get those first rounders in. Anyway.
Well, he didn't even start in the first CBA.
I know.
And then
It's so fucking weird. And then he was defending, like they just look lost. I didn't want to talk about him like in terms of footy because it's just they're so hopeless.
But like we talked about 6 or 7 Port players, and there's like no Essendon shining lights at all.
Nah, there's not. Well, I guess like Nate Caddy could be one from 4 goals, but a lot of them were just like running into open goals.
Yeah,
like,
and he
not,
missed an absolute.
yeah, he missed hit the post, didn't he? With one
I
of
feel
them.
like he's not. Footy IQ is not. For me, Caddy doesn't have that a little bit. Like athletically, I think he's unreal.
Yeah.
I just think footy smarts wise, he sort of lets himself down a little bit.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why he won't take that sort of next step. With Redmond getting injured,
Yeah.
so Roberts potentially goes back, or
Maybe just Farrow comes in and they shuffle.
he had a
deck chairs.
100 in
Yeah. Exactly. So I don't really know. But yeah, Nate Caddy, 85 points. Nice game. Nice score.
They actually just need to bring some effort.
They just need to blow it up and start again,
Yeah.
I reckon. Bring in West Coast, bring in Tassie VFL side just to replace them for a couple of years and then
Just send the
probably
Bombers.
do better.
Send the Bombers to Tassie. Let's merge. Sorry, Bombers fans.
Yeah, sorry, Bombs fans, except K's. Anyway, West Coast versus North Melbourne. Harley Reid had 30 touches, 5 tackles, 105 points. He just needs more opportunities like this where they're actually on top.
Yeah.
But like,
He's arrived, mate.
hopefully,
he was very good.
Hopefully, he has. Yeah,
And he's got that bit of swagger. He's annoying.
Yeah.
One of my mates says he's got the most punchable face in there because he just gets in your face and he rubs you up the wrong way. And when you're losing, obviously that's not great. But
Yeah.
when you're winning and they're playing well and they've got a good team, and I love it.
I think it just kind of shows he's maybe not the ceiling fantasy guy, but will be a solid fantasy guy when he gets there.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
can he be just a consistent 90 guy.
Do you think West Coast as a whole, though, they're looking, from the 2 games we've seen them be serviceable against Gold Coast, or at least actually play a solid game that allowed a few players to actually score some fantasy points?
Yep.
And then this week as well, having a nice win as well. Like,
good for the
maybe they're
comp.
not going to be as bad as they, like, in terms of for fantasy, like, they're probably going to still be belted a lot. But for fantasy, maybe they're not just going to be the graveyard that they were last year.
Yeah,
That's
I think
all.
you'll see a lot more consistent scores of just like almost like Hawthorn, where it's like everyone gets like a 70, 80.
You'll get a few
90.
80s in there. Yeah.
Everyone's just a group kind of team effort, no star.
Because I think last year their highest averaging player was McCarthy with like 85.
Yeah, and he played second half of the
Yeah,
year.
yeah. So like it might be a few more of those guys in there. Someone might even push to 90.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, McCarthy had a 45-point last quarter yesterday.
Yeah. Well,
And then
Devin Robertson is actually averaging 90, I think. I think he's had 90 back to back.
We had about 15 tackles at week 1.
Yeah, that's true. He had the 15 CBAs on the weekend and then 26 touches and 4 tackles. Like, we all kind of knew what he could do given the opportunity. It's just good to see him get it.
Yeah, he's always had the pedigree.
Yeah.
Been a good fantasy player.
And he's got 4 status, which is
very handy.
Another guy that will get 4 status by looks is Milan
I love
Murdoch.
him. I love him, mate. It's just effort.
Yeah, yeah. He's
It's
like,
literally he just
you can
tries
tell
his guts
like
out.
someone like him who's like this. He's like living out his dream. You know what I mean? And he's just not going to let it slip.
Yeah.
Like that's
And
why
he
it's
brings people along with him.
Yeah.
I guess he's
Energy.
24, 25. Everyone else is like, 19, 20, 21, 22.
Yeah.
And you just get on his back. And he's won multiple like East Fremantle BNFs, I'm pretty sure.
It was awesome to see in the change rooms after with like all his mates getting around him
Yeah.
as well. It was just good to
Sick.
see. But yeah, 88 points from Milan Murdoch, 10 tackles, at high half forward, just pressure. But he pushes into the contest as well. Like, and
Yep.
he kind of plays as a bit of a midfielder once he gets in there too. And he'll get 4 status by
Yeah.
the looks, which looks pretty handy for players. Saw a meme today. It was like, "Thank you for changing my life." He's like, "I'm literally just Milan Murdoch."
That's so true. Will
yeah.
Schofield saying he's West Coast's best player.
Yeah, well, like, I picked him up in picked him up in a league, and I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah,
So,
you would be.
and a mate picked him up as well, and we've just been texting him about him all weekend. It's been nice. Then Willem Dersma just gave us a glimpse of what he can do with his 85 points.
Yeah.
Playing on the wing, do you think he'll move more inside eventually?
Has to, I think so. He
Yeah.
kicked 2 goals, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he did
Top
actually,
of
and
the
they were nice goals too.
I just think he showed everything of why he went pick 1. That,
Yeah.
Just a very well-rounded footballer, took a nice grab, kicked a couple goals, used it well,
Yeah.
and you see him continue to rise.
Just having a look here, didn't have a CBA by the looks. And like he kind of, pre-season we were saying he's a winger. I was saying he was going to be a winger and that sort of stuff. But I don't buy into that just yet because like he's a young player, that. And they're not playing. They're kind of only playing like more established players in their midfield at the moment, which is working well for them. Like if you look at it, Harley Reid obviously leads the way every week, but then there was Jack Graham, Kelly, Yo, Dev Rob, and that was pretty much it.
Kelly was
Except for
good,
the
actually.
Backup rucks, yeah. I should have had him in the show doc actually. But yeah, he's coming aside. He's got forward status, Kelly, so he's pretty handy to own at the moment. He just needs to stay on the side. Elliot Yo is the next one, 83 points, 19 touches and 6 tackles, 18 CBAs and the 2 goals. Still spending some time forward, but I think the CBAs are rising. So you just got to hope he holds on to that until the position changes come around. He does get that forward status.
He was forward for a fair chunk though, so I think he would be on the cusp. Maybe not with keeper, but maybe with.
He doubled his CBAs this week.
Yeah, okay.
But
I think
last week he was 50% time on ground.
Right. Okay.
So that's probably just playing more time on ground, really. So, so 50 makes it tricky because you kind of need 85% TOG to have any chance of getting forward status.
Yeah.
Because you need to have the 35 at somewhere else. But if you average it out over the first 2 weeks, and if you play the keeper position changes, I reckon he's going to get it.
Yeah.
Why not? Just got to hope he holds on to the forward time before the AFL industry ones come through. But I think there's a good chance. So,
yeah, I agree. And he looked good, and they won, and like that balance of him being forward mid, I think works well for the West Coast.
Yeah, and you kind of forget that he was like one of the best mids in the competition a few years ago as well. Brady Hoff had 82 points. What I like about this game is he kind of did it across halfback, like not as a midfielder. You know what I mean? Like he's one of those rare players that if he goes into as a tagger or whatever, like, well, not rare, but you don't want him going in as like playing that defensive midfield role. You'd rather him across halfback, and like we've been talking about all episode, just getting involved in all that kind of halfback points that are going around.
Yeah,
as
I
well.
agree. Just that's where you want him. I don't want him in the midfield anymore, and they don't need him in the midfield.
Yeah, exactly. And North, there's not a lot to talk about apart from the players that are already too good for the podcast. Nick Larkey had the 93 points on the back of 6 goals. Like, not great when you need 6 goals to score 93 points. But I do think Larkey's the kind of player that will lift in games where North just need their captain to rise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think he could be a good streaming
He's
option.
probably heading into the peak of his powers in terms of his forward prowess and his contested marking.
Correct.
He did land a bit awkwardly on his knee.
Did he?
And I thought he would, but he played the game out. He's fine.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, he's definitely like 6 goals though. Yeah, 93. I think last week kicked 4. They got no one else, man.
Yeah, exactly. So I think he could rise a few times. So just try to pick the matches where he could actually go okay, and makes sense against West Coast because they don't have that many good key tools. And I think one went down in this game as well. Tyler Young, is that the one? I saw him on the bench getting strapped up.
For Eagles, yeah. He had a concussion past it, and then he rolled his ankle.
That's right. Yeah. All right, let's get into the listener questions before we wrap this up. Huge Ass AFL says, do you see Archie Roberts doing well this season? Looked terrible for a second week in a row. If he gets halfback, that's the answer, isn't it?
Yeah.
I see him doing well if he gets halfback role.
Essendon suck, man. So
yeah,
like it's so hard for any Bombers player to just really get a bit.
Man,
of
I got
flow.
Fiorini and 35.
Yeah, like that's
just can't touch the. No one touches the footy.
Yeah,
it's going to be very hard. Yeah.
And Port and Hawthorn 2 weeks in a row, like they were up. Like Port had 1,200 points the week before, and then I'm not sure what they scored this week, but I dare say if Butters getting 144, it'd be up there.
I will put the average numbers. They've risen up the average points scored up there quite a bit. So
I just think you just can't trust him. Like he still got 86, was solid.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking you might not see the ceilings unless they're getting on top of people.
Yeah, actually, I do have the average points against here. So Essendon are by far the most average points against, so 1905. So funny because Port were right up there with the most points against last week, and then they've dropped right down because Essendon just put up nothing against them this week. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not reading into Port too much, so it's probably more about Essendon than it is about anything else. So maybe Archie Roberts is not going to be any good this season. Wait and see though. Wembanyama wants to know what's wrong with Grundy. Do you know what I think is wrong with Grundy?
What?
Come up against dual rucks 2 weeks in a row. I think that's probably the biggest issue with him. Like negating rucks. Hawthorn, and the week before he had Brisbane. Brisbane are a hard team to score against. Round 1 he turned up. You know what I mean? I'm willing to give him time.
And round 1, who did he play? Carlton.
Yeah.
And they have what, Pitt and Reed.
They did have dual ruckmans, but Reedy didn't spend much time in the ruck at all. I think he's just come up against hard rucks to score against in the first 3 weeks.
Yeah, and when you're getting double teamed essentially, and like Ned Reeves is...
He's so hard to out jump, you know what I mean? Like, he's so tall. Yeah, so like, I think he's just had bad matchups. I'm backing him in. I think
it's not like he had diabolical scores as well. He was like an 80. He had an 88 on the weekend.
I think he's still averaging around that, high 70s.
Yeah, and I think that's just where rucks are going because there's just less stoppages.
Yeah. But then next person, Massimo Espo 69 asked, is Cherry the best fantasy ruckman still? Who would you rather, English or Cherry?
English.
Yeah, I'm English still as well. So maybe second best?
I'll take Gorn.
You still take Gorn, so maybe third best. Yeah. I think Cherry, like I said this earlier in the show, I think Cherry has had very good matchups so far.
Yeah.
Need to see what happens going forward. But the thing I do like about Cherry, he's a handful of sole ruckman at the moment, and they're always going to score better. So
his follow-up efforts, his tackles, none of that's changed. It's just he probably might get less opportunities because of the stoppages. But I think as we see the game slow down, I think he'll be
back in the frame again.
Back in the frame again for sure.
Yeah. Can Jaden Short sustain this? Asked Dion.
It's another one that annoys me. I thought Banks was taking over.
See, I think Banks is more the interrupted preseason has hurt him. So
he had a foot fracture. Stress fracture.
Yeah, so he wasn't running and stuff like that. So I reckon they might even out a bit as the season goes on. So I'm saying maybe not for Short sustaining this, but I don't think he's going to be awful this year either. I think he'll be a 90 kind of guy this
which
year.
Is great.
Yeah, exactly. And Matt W is asking, assuming the first batch of DPPs after this week in keeper, who's your biggest buy before he gets a DPP guy? For me, I think the obvious one's Took Miller to get forward status.
Yeah.
I'd be like, but who's selling him?
Nah,
that's the thing.
No one.
I think Yo, like if you can get Yo off a struggling team and that you're contending, if he gets the forward status, I'd be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Milan Murdoch will get forward status, but I think everyone's going to be raving about him now. Like he'll be too highly owned.
The only one I think about maybe is like Luke Parker because he should get defender status.
Yeah, and I did have him on my list.
I know that he's had a 60 on the weekend, but I feel like he is going to be a good scorer. Like I think
he'll be solid. He'll be an 80 guy off the halfback.
But then there's so many defenders that already average 80. So
my other one was like Oliver Florent. Yeah, it's similar thing. But also we're going to see Newman return this week. I reckon I don't know if he comes straight to the AFL side, but
maybe.
Yeah, so he might be because did he play VFL on the weekend? I'm not sure. I need to look that up. So Florent maybe because he's going to get defender status. If Pendles gets forward status,
it's crazy.
Yeah, if I don't know what it was the second week, but first week it looked likely.
I think it was a similar role.
Yeah, because he's at low CBAs.
I remember the game started, he had his warm-up top on.
The thing is like low CBAs, but also low TOG. So it's like, does he have enough time to get a 35% somewhere else? That's the thing I'm wondering.
Because he has to basically play, if he's playing 50% time on ground or whatever it is, he needs to be playing almost 80, 90% of that forward.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's...
Which I don't think he is. I think he might be playing 60% and it's 30-30.
Yeah, so he needs to get the time on ground up and spend more time forward, essentially.
Yeah.
But
as most people do if they want DPP.
He's probably someone you could get quite cheaper.
I agree, because he's 30 million years old.
Yeah. The thing with me, I've got him, right? But like, I don't have enough mids. I find mids harder to find these days.
I'm playing Darcy Wilson, Brad Hill, and another mid, Mason Wood. It's like my 3 mids.
Yeah, you'd love to play them somewhere else.
I want them all as forwards instead.
It's very tricky.
Yeah.
And P-Rex wants to know, who are your 3 biggest buy low players at the moment? I wrote down 3. I'll let you have a think about who some of yours might be. I've got Rowan Marshall for next season. So buy him at his lowest and then hope he gets traded
and has forward status.
That's my thinking there. Whitfield, I think Whitfield won't stay this bad forever. So I'd buy.
He's still got 90 in the weekend.
Exactly. Yeah, but he's not getting the ceiling. You know what I mean?
Like Lockie Ash got 137.
Yeah. I reckon McKercher as well. I can see McKercher coming good.
Colby.
Yeah.
I
reckon they'll get him back to that half.
Another one's like Sanders. I feel like he's still buy low.
Especially with Libber out. He might see a bit of a bump too. So
it's almost people on the bubble of haven't, when they're thinking they're going to break out and they don't break out, it's like you just give them another year and they should.
Pretty much.
And then you just hope that you can. Like another one for me, Cam McKenzie, dropped him last year. Didn't think he'd be any good. He's gone like 90 and 80.
Yeah.
So it's like those kind of guys where maybe they're the doubt, the unknown.
Yeah. And
they should be good.
Yeah.
That's what I'll be looking at.
No, I reckon those. But yeah, those are my 3. I reckon. Get back McKercher. Buy him low. I reckon he's started the season.
Surely
low.
not selling McKercher though, are they?
Well, it's just because he started the season low. You know what I mean? Like he already had a 50 and he didn't go over 80. I don't think this week.
No.
So, yeah.
He's probably carrying that injury still.
Was it a hand?
Yeah.
Oh no, can't you still run around and stuff?
Yeah, but
Maybe you can't.
he runs like
Maybe T-Rex arms. Anyways, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks, Matty, for joining us this week and helping out on the podcast. Where can our listeners find you?
Yeah, just Twitter, Instagram, Matty DeSena.
Yep.
Nothing really changes with me.
Yep. She's always tweeting about rookies and little observations.
Yeah, I've been haven't done normally post about the rookie scores in the VFL.
You went and had a look at a few rookies on the weekend, didn't you?
Yeah.
Who was your standout?
So round 1 for the under 18s in the Sanford was on Thursday night, Wednesday and Thursday night. I went to Thursday.
Yeah.
I
love this kind of dedication.
Yeah. I watched Zemus Pilot play for South.
Yeah.
He was key forward, ruck, mid.
Yeah.
Sort of played everywhere.
He's a Port NGA, isn't he?
Yeah, yes. Yeah. There's another one for South, Coda Edwards.
Yeah.
He had 20 for South, played 20 touches, kicked 4 goals too. Probably had like 2 that went out in the field. Probably could have 8.
Yeah, right.
He'll be one to watch for sure.
There you go. Some early draftees on the back of Matty DeSena. Follow him on Twitter for more insights like that.
Yeah.
Get around our stuff at Keep League Pod on all of the socials. If you want to support the podcast, please spend a second to sign up as a member. Members legit keep this operation going, keep the lights on, and buy me the time each week to do all the content and useful resources that help people out. And I think that's pretty much it at the moment. I'll join our Discord server as well. Or if you're a gold member, join the Facebook group. I'm not as active in that one, but the Discord server goes off. Lots of good chatter about fantasy trades.
Is this one we have a fake username so people in your league don't know it's you?
Pretty much. Everyone knows who I'm Hef on there, so everyone knows who I am. But yeah, everyone has fake usernames and like no one can know. Like it's very hard for people to know who you are until you start like dishing up exact trade scenarios that are happening in your league. Then you might give it away. But interesting conversations in there, and it's very anonymous for you to talk about your leagues in there. So yeah. Anyways, thanks once again, Matty.
No worries, mate. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, people, for listening, and we'll talk to you next week. See ya.